What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another Greenleaf Recap, which aired on June 30th on the OWN network. Now, this is the final season, season 5, episode 2. So the show comes on with Jacob, and he's in the storage still looking through the paperwork. And Grace is in the hospital waiting to talk to the doctor about AJ. So apparently AJ is still alive. And it's crazy, and it may sound harsh, and I know I share this opinion with a lot of people who watch the show. It was like, I know I'm not the only one that was thinking, he's still alive? Like, oh. Like, I wasn't, hoping that he would die, but if he would have died off the show, I really wouldn't miss his character, because AJ didn't really bring nothing to the show. He was always a downer and just very secretive about what it is going on with him mentally. So I wouldn't have missed him if he would have died off the show. So he is still alive, and that's where we at on that. So Grace and Sophia, they made it in the house to speak with Bishop and Lady May about AJ. And Lady May is still fasting. Bishop, he's kind of getting on her about at least trying to eat something. And Charity walks in, and she's trying to talk to Grace. And of course, Grace not trying to have anything to say to her for everything that she's done. So she's like, how is AJ? And Grace was like, he's fine. And she looked like, that's all she gonna say. And she was like, he's fine. And Grace said, yes, he's fine. And so Lady May was like, well, what do you expect from her after all the things that you have done and everything that you've done to her son? And she was like, well, why did you even invite me to your wedding if you feel that way about me? Why did you even invite me to the wedding? And she said, because your father asked me to. Because if it was up to me, you would be sitting under a tree somewhere. She called her Judas and everything. And then Charity tried to get up out of there. Of course, always feeling sorry for herself. Talking about, I'm heading back to work where people actually like me. And I was like, she always have this thing about her where she can be very vindictive. And then it's like, when people point that out to her, she plays victim and feeling sorry for herself. So, after that, let's see, because I wrote some notes down. So Bishop, he wanted to set the date for the wedding, because of course they get married after that happened to AJ last week. Wanted to set the date again for their wedding on a Saturday. And then they show Carissa and Zora folding clothes. Carissa is trying to talk to Zora about everything that happened with AJ and how she knows she can come to her and talk to her about anything that's bothering her. And Zora, she just kind of jokingly says, well, I already have someone to talk to. I talk to Jesus all the time. And Carissa was like, I'm talking about me, and don't play with Jesus like that. So then Jacob, he walks in, and Carissa asks him, like, did you get the text? Because to me, I figured he'd been ignoring her, like, since everything came out about her cheating on him and getting that STD. And so Zora was like, so are y'all gonna go to therapy? And they just totally ignored her. So Grace told Darius about AJ trying to kill himself. And then they went up to Cal's house to question him about Bob and the merger with the church. And he pretty much couldn't say much. He didn't say much at all. What he did say is that like, they are not allowing him to speak on it. So it's like they got a gag order on him. And he just asked them to leave. Could y'all please leave me alone? He turned around and went back in his house. So Sophia called Dante to see if they can see each other and talk things out and everything, since he's been back with this ex or whatever they got going on. And he didn't answer the phone. I'm not surprised at that. So Bishop and Lady May went to Mavis's old club that she gave to Grace, because they're thinking about tearing it down and building their new church there. So while they're in there, Bishop, he's reminiscing and going all around the club, looking at the old flyers and the posters and everything on the wall, and just talking about the old time music he used to be into. And Lady May, you can tell she just really wasn't feeling it. She started to bring up, I don't really think this is what God has in plan for me. This is not what God told me to do. And Bishop knows that Lady May's issue is not so much about turning the old club into a church, but more about what happened with her and Mavis a little while back, and as far as growing up with them. So, and then Bishop, he just so into it, like when his mind set on doing something, he just be on go. But Lady May was like, look, I said what I said, and I want to start off fresh. I'm not interested in turning this into a church. So until we can start off fresh, I'm out. So Charity walks into her office to find out that Judy has turned it over into her office. She even painted it pink, had the furniture covered up, and was moving Charity's belongings out of there. So Charity looking like, okay, now what's going on? So she busts in on Phil, and she's asking him like, what's going on? And how could you let this happen? And he was like, now, with her being a first lady, she gets the right to the big office, and you AP now, so that's just how it is. So she was like, I can't believe you letting this happen. I can't believe, being Charity. And at the same time, I could understand that she didn't know that was about to happen. But she did bring all this on herself. So she gonna see it's gonna get much worse than that. So she runs out of there, go in the bathroom crying and stuff. So Grace made it back to the hospital, and she met with Noah. Noah ran to her, giving her a hug. I mean, just embracing her like he missed her so much, and she just gave him nothing. She didn't hug him back or nothing. And I don't know. So Jacob and Carissa was at the lawyer's office to talk about the divorce and custody. And Jacob's want primary custody. And then him and Carissa was going back and forth, disagreeing about that. And the lawyer was like, I thought y'all settled this. Like, we not here to debate or to figure out how y'all gonna do it. Now y'all should have already thought about this before you came in here and just signed the papers. So Jacob went on and signed the papers and was like, fine. So Noah told Grace that he's been staying with his mom after he got a divorce. And then after that, the doctor came out and told them that AJ does not want to see neither one of them. And, I'm not surprised that he say that about Noah, but Grace, I was like, see, this, this is what makes it so hard to, even want him on the show, because he don't give you nothing. It's just always the same. Oh, he's just such a downer, so negative. He brings such a negative spirit. What's wrong now? I don't know what's going on with him, but I can't wait until it all comes out, so I won't keep feeling this way about him. But it's I feel like they just dragging it on too much at this point, this big secret. So Sophia went over to Zora, and they talked it out, and they finally getting along again and everything like that. So Judy walks in and is all over Phil, obviously trying to get to Charity. So while they were going over a printout for the gym or some other construction that they're working on, dealing with the choir and all that stuff, she just all over him. And he's standing up there, of course, with his hands in his pocket and just not giving her nothing. And it's clear that he really do love, I really do feel like that he really loved Charity. And I know he felt bad. I know he didn't want her to be all on him like that. At the same time, it ain't that easy to feel sorry for him either. And then as she was leaving out, Judy, Charity told her, Judy, I just want you to know that, Phil is only marrying you because your father told him to. Because he's still in love with me. And, he is. Then Judy, she turns around and says Proverbs 12:16. Vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent woman ignores an insult and move the F on. And then she says, oh, and that's paraphrase. Then she turns and kisses Phil again on the mouth, and he just so stiff, like somebody kissing a body in a casket or something. Like, she ought to feel foolish, like coming on so strong to that man, to somebody who don't have no interest in you. Like, you got the position you want, but you doing all that extra stuff for somebody who don't even want you. And then Charity, she told him, you got a good Christian woman pastor. You should be proud of yourself. And then Noah and Grace, they leave the hospital. And Noah tell Grace that he wants his family back. That's his whole goal of being back there. He just wants to put his family together. And Grace was like, what? You can't just pop up out of nowhere and think that you're going to put us together as a family again. I've been here 3 years and I still don't feel like, this is family. And he was like, I expect you to feel that way because that's just how you are. And she said, what? Take that back. And then he was like, so you mad? And then she was saying, like, take that back. Don't say that. Don't talk to me like that. So he was like, okay, I apologize. And I'll see you tomorrow, okay? And so they went on. So, after Grace made it back to the house, her and Lady Mae was sitting on the front steps of the house. And Lady Mae had just come back from Faith's grave site. And they just sat out and talked. And she told Grace, God is blessing you to have a second chance with your child. And that's what he put on my spirit while I was up at the grave. Then Charity pulls up and she's begging Lady Mae to, please don't run in the house. Please talk to me. Just talk to me. Give me some advice on what to do at the church. And Lady Mae was like, I just came from your sister's grave. And Grace is dealing with AJ's attempt suicide. And you seem to just keep making things about your problems. You don't know what problems are. You don't know what a real problem is yet. And then she walks on in the house from her too. So, I'm going to just kind of skip through some of my notes on some of the, the best part of the show tonight. So, Carissa and Jacob, they make it to the house. Azor is pretty much checking them at the door. Like, so are y'all getting a divorce? Or what the hell y'all going to do? And Jacob was like, first of all, girl, you better watch your mouth. And they just kind of start going back and forth. He throwed in Carissa's face. Yeah, go on and take your slut meds. And Carissa was like, you been a slut all your life, so you can't throw that in my face. You can't make me feel bad about what I've done, And Jacob have been doing that so much lately. It's just like getting on my nerves. Like they got him so mad. Like, okay, now you're doing too much. All that dirt that you've done to Carissa, and then you just want to keep throwing that in her face like you just been so perfect in the marriage. He really getting on my nerves with that. So Bishop come in to tell Lady Mae, like, I talked to Mavis and whatever, and we trying to work things out with the club, and we gonna go ahead on and do this. And she just like, hold up, pump your brakes. We already talked about this, and we're not doing it. Don't you remember? And he was like, yeah. And in that moment, I was noticing something about him. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but it's something about the bishop that was kind of off. I don't know. He was kind of like giving me a pre-Alzheimer's moment. And you could see the sadness in her eyes. Like, she noticed something. I don't know. Something was just off. And, she just want to talk about the wedding date. Setting the wedding date. And she don't want something, thrown together real fast. She wants something nice and elegant. Something very meaningful to her. Something, what women want with their weddings. So, Sophia, she called Dante's phone. His ex answered the phone and then hung the phone up in her face. So I hope Sophia just let it go. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I don't see it going in a good direction so far. Then Lady Mae, she finally broke her fast. So she said that the Lord has finally put it on her spirit what it is that she need to see. Okay, so Jacob is fishing, and while he's fishing, he ended up, like, when he went into that 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 can box or whatever, he pulled out a will. So he's gonna be checking up on that and see what that's all about, that will. And then what else happens? So after that, let's see, Grace and Darius, they went up to Cal's house again. I'm sorry, I'm taking y'all back to the wrong part of the show. I'm gonna just skim through some more. So Bishop ended up bringing home like this old LP record that he brought from the club. Sounds like an old Ray Charles album, and he's just playing it and reminiscing. And then Grace, she gets a call from Cal, and he was like, take this name down, Edenville Lending Company. He said, that's all I'm gonna say for now. Just take that down and don't tell Darius. Tell him not to contact me again. Well, he called Darius the the media. And then the show concludes with Grace back at the hospital in the waiting room to see about AJ, and Jacob knocking at the door, at Tasha's door, asking for Basie, and we find out that Basie is dead. And that's how the show ended for the night. So thank y'all for watching. Talk to you soon.